up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Scotty Taylor Jr. Success Money Mindset podcast. And I'm here today to share this idea, this concept, this little nugget of wisdom with you. And my hope is that by sharing this wisdom and some of these stories, that it's going to transform your business. Before we get into the episode, I have something really exciting to share with you. So if you want to grow your business as a financial advisor or insurance agent, you already know you need to prospect, right? You know that prospecting and getting leads is the lifeblood of your business. Well, in 2022, I worked 2 days a week. Yep, you heard me right. 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I did $315,000 of insurance premium, $5 million of new assets under management, and made a total of $490,000 of revenue that year. So if you want to learn the exact prospecting system that I used, I put it together and I actually am teaching it in my free training. So in the training, you're gonna get access to the exact 6 strategies that I used in 2019, 2021, 2022 to grow my multiple six-figure financial planning business without working more hours, without struggling, without any of the trial and error that normally you would go through in trying new strategies. If you're interested, check out the link in the show notes. It's scottytaylorjr.com/prospecting-system-live. You can access it for free. And when you join, make sure you show up live because the energy in the class is electric. I can't wait to see you there. Now, this topic that I'm going to go over today is not something that people normally talk about. So I've coached hundreds of advisors. I've been coached by multiple different coaches. I've attended lots of different trainings. And most of the time, the trainings and the mentors, they really go into like the what you should be doing, right? They're like, you should be making $40 a day, or you should be on LinkedIn, or you should be asking for referrals. And I don't necessarily find that to be all that helpful. And what I teach, right? I teach the actual strategies. I give you all the tools and templates inside of my programs so you can actually cold call effectively, or get inbound leads, or get LinkedIn referrals. And those strategies are absolutely, and the execution of them are absolutely what get you to your next level, right? However, and this is like a big but, this is a big however, your determination to see success is the foundation to your success. Your relentless desire to actually see the results that you want to see has to be the cornerstone, has to be the foundation of building your business. So what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to tell you a quick story because I've talked with lots of advisors, and there are lots of advisors that I talk to that have this idea that they're going to do all these different prospecting strategies. So for example, I just talked to somebody recently and he's doing an okay job, right? He's like, doing $3,000-$4,000 a month. So he's not where he wants to be, but he's like, okay, I'm seeing a little bit of success, but I'm just not picking it up and I want to be doing more. And he wants to do speaking events. So he wants to do speaking events within companies. And we were talking about that and I'm like, amazing. Like, you can do a speaking event. It's not necessarily a strategy that I recommend right off the bat, but he had already been working on it. So I'm like, cool, let's figure out how to make your speaking events even more efficient and even more effective. And so what I see in this conversation, and what I see with so many other advisors, and what I shared with this specific student of mine, is that it's one thing to have the idea, right? Like, I'm gonna do speaking events. I'm gonna do speaking events to companies. I'm gonna get people on my calendar. I'm gonna make money. And that in itself is like a nice idea, but that's exactly what it is. It's an idea. And when we think about the actual execution of that, there are going to be times when you might be met with some resistance. So you might reach out to people and you're like, hey, do you want to, I would love to do a talk at your company. And they might say no, or they might say, yeah, like check back with me in 6 months. Or they might say yes, and then they book it out 3 months later. And then once you actually, assuming that you book the talk and you go there in person, you might do the talk, and maybe the talk isn't great. Maybe you haven't perfected the talk and nobody wants to book a call with you afterward. Or maybe you do the talk and you're just kind of sitting there hoping like, well, I hope people reach out to me. I hope people book time on my calendar, but nobody does. And what I see, this is really the crux of the story, what I see happen so often is we have these ideas of what we want to do and how we want to get more people on our calendar and get referrals, but we're not relentless about it. We don't have that inner fire that says, I am going to make this work. Because so many people do the activities. I'm doing the speaking events. I am following up with people to book them on my calendar, but I'm not seeing the results, Scotty. I'm not seeing the results. But your heart isn't actually in it, meaning you're not willing to be uncomfortable. You're not willing to do the hard things. If there are 10 steps to book people on your calendar from a speaking event and 8 of them are easy and 2 of them are hard, you need to show up with the 2 that are hard with the same level of conviction that you have for the other 8, where you're like, oh, this is easy, I can email this person. Of course it's easy to email somebody. It doesn't take a lot of risk to email somebody. What it does take a lot of risk for is to show up and actually present. What it does take a lot of risk for and a lot of uncertainty and potentially rejection is to follow up with the people afterward to book them on your calendar, to follow up with them multiple times even though you haven't heard back from them. Like, you guys, this is what I'm talking about. You have to be relentless in your desire and your conviction to make this work and to actually get the result that you're looking to get. And so the crux of this, really, like the point that I want to make here is it's not enough to just be busy. It's not enough to just show up and to do some activities and kind of cross your fingers and hope. It's not enough to do the activities, but inside you're feeling like this isn't going to work for me. It's never going to happen. I've been trying this for so long and I'm not seeing any results. And you feel that desperate or that hopelessness energy inside of you, and yet you're doing activities. You're not going to see results from that. Like, you're just not going to see results. There's no strategy that I can give you that will make up for your lack of conviction. And so my encouragement to you right now is to think about the prospecting that you're doing. So let's say you ask in meetings. You're like, I'm going to ask in meetings. Are you sitting down before the meeting and thinking to yourself, I will walk away with 3 referrals in this meeting, period, end of mother effing story? Do you have that level of conviction? Or are you going into it thinking, it would be really nice if I got 3 referrals, but I don't really have very good language, and this might be awkward, and you know what, if I don't ask, whatever, no big deal. Because if that's the energy you're going into your meetings, that second energy of like, well, I hope it works out, but if it doesn't, okay, well, I can tell you what's gonna happen. I can tell you exactly what's gonna happen. You're gonna avoid that discomfort. You're gonna avoid the discomfort of asking for referrals. You're not gonna get referrals, and your business is gonna feel stagnant. And then at some point in time, listen, this is important. At some point in time, you're gonna feel 10 times more discomfort because you're gonna look at your business and think, why am I not where I want to be? Why have I not achieved the level of success that I want to achieve? Why do I still feel stuck? It's because you avoided all of the challenging and difficult things in the beginning, and then you let them all build, and then you're met with resistance then. So I'm gonna give you an example of this that's maybe a little bit easier to digest. Let's say you're in a relationship with somebody, right? You're in a relationship with somebody and they do stuff that is like it's not a big deal, but it kind of annoys you. And they keep doing it every single week. And every single week, rather than having that conversation with your partner to be like, hey, this is really actually frustrating me, this is upsetting me, you just let it go because you don't want to have that difficult conversation. And then you fast forward 6 months from now you're about to break up, and now you're feeling tons of frustration. Now you're feeling way worse. And so the reality is that sometimes we as humans, we shy away from discomfort when we have to actively seek it out, right? So it's like asking for a referral in a meeting isn't always comfortable. Cold calling isn't always comfortable. But if you can make this switch in your brain, you will see success. And the switch is, would I rather be uncomfortable now, a little bit uncomfortable now, or would I rather be really uncomfortable later on? Because I will tell you, I promise you, that if you avoid all the discomfort now, if you avoid being relentless, if you avoid all of the stepping into your power now, and just hope it's gonna work out in the future, I can almost promise you with 100-degree certainty that you will wake up at some point in time feeling worse than you do right now. You will have more discomfort later than you do right now. And so the reality is that when you are out there on a day-to-day basis, asking for referrals, you're sending messages on LinkedIn, you're sending emails, you're cold calling people. I want you to have the perspective that I am gonna get referrals right now. I'm gonna book 2 people today. I'm gonna make this happen. When you have that perspective and then you pair it with the right strategies, you will be invincible. Right? So when I first started my career, I had that conviction level. I was like, I am gonna get people on my calendar because I am gonna make money. And so I would call my cousins and they all said no to me. I hit up my old friends on Facebook. I did everything I could. My strategies were whack right in the beginning because I didn't know what I was doing, and eventually I got better at my strategies. But when I first started, I was relentless about making money, about seeing people on my calendar. And so I dealt with a lot of crap early on in my career. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say it was like rosy and super amazing. I did deal with some frustration. I did deal with some disappointment and some rejection. But what I can share with you now is I knew that if I didn't face the rejection in the beginning of my career, if I didn't face the challenges head on, I would wake up at some point in time and my business would not be thriving. I would have to go back to a 9-to-5 job. I would be miserable. I would be broke. I would be in debt. I knew that was what my path was gonna look like if I did not be courageous right now. So like, forget it. I'm gonna be courageous now, even though I really didn't freaking want to, but I had this drive inside of me. And so for you right now, I want you to think, I want you to journal, I want you to take a moment after this video, after this episode, and sit down and think, where am I letting myself off the hook? Where am I not showing up fully courageously in my business? Where am I doing the activities, but my heart's not in it, my soul's not in it, my whole intention is not in it? Right? It's one thing to ask for a referral, that's a great step. It's another thing to ask for a referral with the intention of getting 2 referrals in the meeting. It's another thing to do cold calling with the intention of booking 2 or 3 people on your calendar in that cold calling window. And I get it, this is not easy. This is not easy things that I'm sharing with you. I'm not sharing with you like the sugar-coated candy version of prospecting. This is the stuff that's gonna require you to dig deep. It's gonna require you to show up as a different version of yourself. But I say this with so much love. The reason I'm so passionate about this is because every single day I see amazing advisors out there stuck. They are playing small, they are mediocre because they do not have the courage. They do not showcase their courage. They have the courage, they just don't showcase it. They're just not stepping into their power, and they're letting their business run and it's unchecked. Like, they're just letting their business go, and they're like, well, I'm gonna work a little bit today. I see people, they get on video calls with me, they're like maybe in bed, they're like laying down, and I'm like, you will never be successful. Like, you will not be successful with that perspective. If you're gonna lay in bed when I'm gonna offer you guidance and support, I'm like, this is exactly what you need to do to be successful, and you're just gonna be like, yeah, I guess I could try that, but I don't really want to. Then don't, and stay mediocre, right? My hope is that by hearing this, you break free of the patterns that are keeping you small and you step into a more successful version of yourself. But it doesn't happen by accident, it happens through intention. And so really, ultimately, the point that I wanna make to you in this video is you must be relentless about your dreams. This doesn't mean work harder. This doesn't mean stress yourself out. This doesn't mean burn yourself out. This means that you have intention. And intention is just a small, tiny little pause before you jump into a meeting where you say, I'm gonna go into this meeting and you know what? I'm gonna get 2 referrals. Another example is I have my program, my Financial Advisor Academy, and I have a goal that I set for how many people I want to get into my academy on a monthly, quarterly, yearly basis, right? So I have goals around that. And I do master classes, and I sometimes chat with people on Zoom or on the phone. I DM people, like, I have different conversations to talk to people about joining the academy. And it's one thing, and like rewind like 6-12 months ago, I would do a master class, and I would do the master class, and before the master class, I just wasn't feeling 100%. I was like, I don't know, there's not as many people registered as I want, and I'm not really in the mood to do the master class, but I did it, I showed up, I did it, And then afterward, nobody signed up. And I look at that and I'm like, man, that felt like a failure. Like that felt like a failure, even though, even though I showed up, I did the work, but my heart wasn't in it. My intentionality wasn't in it. And it's sometimes challenging for me to break through to my next level. So when I think about doing like $80,000, $100,000, $200,000 per month, that's a new level for me. And that's scary. And that fear can sometimes crop up unexpectedly and cause me to play small. And playing small is not having the intentionality of, well, I got a couple people in last week, so do I really need to get more people in this week? Or those are the types of thoughts that will creep in that I'm like, no, I'm not allowing that thought to enter my mind anymore. So it's cropping up because that's my old version of myself, but no. We're not allowing that to be our reality. The reality that I desire to create is where I'm doing consistently $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 per month. In order to do that, I have to have radical intentionality in every single meeting that I show up. I have to visualize the version of myself that I want to be, and I'm relentless about it. I'm energetically relentless. I'm not physically relentless because I take breaks and I go for walks and I enjoy myself, but I'm energetically relentless. That's the point I wanted to make in this video today. So if you take nothing else from this video, I want you to become intentionally relentless, energetically relentless. I want you to start working on the muscle. It's like a muscle in your gut. I feel like this is like not your actual abs, but like an energetic muscle in your gut where you're like, this is going to work for me. If you can adopt that mentality, if you can adopt that level of conviction, I promise you that the strategies that you try will start working more effectively. Because it really is less about the language and more about the conviction. It's less about the language and more about the process. The process, the intention, those are the keys to success. There's not like one word you're gonna say that's gonna make somebody's, contact list just open up and they're gonna give you all their referrals. That's not how it works. I love you. I hope this was super helpful. If you need anything, let me know. But I will be cheering you on. I will be your energetic cheerleader as you step into this next version of yourself where you become energetically relentless. Okay, I'll see you next time. Have a good one.